All right, thank you, Eric. Brent Clark, the Broken Bow City Administrator, joining me here in the Tom Butler Bandstand, a beautiful location here in the center part of town. It was kind of perfect timing. We started talking about it. The snow started falling as soon as we walked up here.
It did. You couldn't pick more perfect timing for the weather and the cold and a little bit of wind I see already with the snow coming.
Well, you know what? People might not know, but you also went to school at Wayne State as well as I did, so you got some Northeast Nebraska connections. They're getting ready to deal with that snow that we're starting to get up here in Broken Bow. As you guys get ready for this, they're talking about maybe 10, 11 inches or something like that. What's kind of the plan from the city standpoint to kind of deal with the snow and I suppose with the streets too?
We're Nebraskans, so, we're always ready for the snow. It's January, and, it seems to be usually January, February is when we really like to get a lot of snow in Broken Bow. Last year we received those 18 inches the end of January as well, and our crews are incredible. Our street department does a phenomenal job with preparing for the snow and having the trucks ready to go. The salt and sand are on it, and the trucks are ready inside, of course, warming up to have a long night ahead of them.
Now, guys probably already, we know guys are kind of out looking around. You saw one guy driving by. Who did you see kind of going around?
I saw Michael Barnett was driving around. He works for our street department. Monty Clark, who's our street superintendent, will be monitoring, of course. We're encouraging people to stay off the roads. And of course, our guys will wait probably until after we get a little bit of accumulation to actually get out and start moving any snow. But that's what we do. We move snow when it snows.
Well, yeah, I know, exactly. And we didn't really have any rain before we had the snow, which is nice because then we don't have the ice. And so that makes things a little easier for the guys. Again, when you talk about maybe do you guys want cars off the streets in certain spots, or what's kind of the direction you're hoping for residents around town as the crews start moving snow when the accumulation really does add up?
Well, and you really want to watch the emergency snow routes. We do have emergency snow routes in Broken Bow. We're just like the big cities like in Norfolk and Columbus and Wayne, who also have snow emergency routes. And once the mayor declares it a snow emergency, if he so chooses, and then we'll really have to make sure to keep those areas cleared. Otherwise, you can have tickets and violations and those things. So,
in most cases, is there a certain area or a certain level of snow that you usually see before a snow emergency is called, or does it just kind of vary on how the weather really is acting specifically on that day?
It really varies. It depends, like you said. Since we didn't have the rain ahead of time, that's really nice. So you don't have that slick of a base underneath of the snow. So it will depend. It will depend on the mayor's judgment as well as the street superintendent, Monty Clark, and the police department. Chief Steve Scott and Captain Dan Hansen will also have a little word of advice for us while we get to that stage.
As you guys have been prepping for this, is there anything specific you guys are looking out for? Is there anything you guys are kind of expecting from the storm? I know it seems like it's getting upgraded as we get closer and closer.
We really want to make sure the snow routes to the hospital are safe and clear. Of course, a lot of people will be out driving around when they shouldn't be, and of course that leads to accidents, and then our emergency personnel have to be able to respond to that. We do have a volunteer department here in Broken Bow, and so those folks have to then get to the station, which then adds another element to moving in the snow, and then have to respond, of course, in the ambulances and fire trucks and those things if there are accidents. So that's why we really encourage people to stay home, find a fireplace somewhere, get some hot chocolate, find some movies to watch or something, or I guess there are some football games on, aren't there?
There's something going on like that, yeah.
There's something going on like that.
Well, Brent, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be talking more later today, I'm sure.
Yep, sounds great, and thanks for coming to Broken Bow.
Hey, I'm glad to be here again. It's beautiful. We're in the Tom Butler Bandstand here in the central portion of the park. Haley and myself will be hanging out all day. Brent, I'm going to drag him out here at some point later today if he could trek through the snow to come hang out with us, but we're enjoying it so far, so we appreciate it. And also a big thank you to Easy IT for helping us with the Wi-Fi and helping us kind of send a signal out here to broadcast to you guys, so that has been a big help. Eric, back to you in Norfolk.